Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I'm Anuja Kumar and with me is VC Pramod with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to virtually address the plenary session of Eastern Economic Forum in Vladivostok, Russia. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar to participate in the second India-Japan 2+2 ministerial dialogue in Tokyo tomorrow. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal says India spent last few years creating foundation for rapid transformation in its economic growth. New Delhi Municipal Council passes resolution to rename Rajpath as Kartavya Path. CBI officials raid houses of West Bengal Law Minister Molloy Ghatak at Asansol in connection with the coal smuggling case. Raids being conducted in 7 places across the state. Central team to visit flood-hit areas in Bengaluru. Losses suffered due to rainfall pegged at 7,647 crore rupees. Indian origin barrister Suella Braverman inducted as Home Secretary in the new UK cabinet. Indian hockey player Harmanpreet Singh nominated for FIH Player of Year Award. PR Srijesh and Savita Punia shortlisted in goalkeepers category. And in Asia Cup, Pakistan to clash with Afghanistan in the Super 4 match at Sharjah this evening. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will deliver a video address today at the plenary session of the Eastern Economic Forum 2022 being held in Russia's Vladivostok. Prime Minister Modi was the chief guest at the Eastern Economic Forum in 2019. The 7th Eastern Economic Forum got underway on Monday with participants from more than 60 countries. The theme this year is The Path to a Multipolar World. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will leave for Japan today on a 4-day official visit after completion of his visit to Mongolia. Mr. Singh, along with External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, will participate in the second India-Japan 2+2 ministerial dialogue in Tokyo tomorrow. The Japanese side will be represented by Minister of Defence Mr. Yasukazu Hamada and Minister of Foreign Affairs Mr. Yoshimasa Hayashi. The 2+2 dialogue will review the bilateral cooperation across domains and chart out the way forward. India and Japan are pursuing a special strategic and global partnership. This year marks the 70 years of diplomatic relations between the two countries. In addition to the 2+2 dialogue, the Defence Minister will separately hold bilateral talks with his Japanese counterpart to further strengthen defence cooperation between the two countries across various sectors. He is also scheduled to call on the Prime Minister of Japan, Fumio Kishida, during the visit. Mr. Singh will also attend a community event organized by the Embassy of India in Tokyo and interact with the Indian diaspora in Japan. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal has said that India means opportunities and it is not India's decade but India's century. The ministry said by the time India would celebrate the 100th anniversary of its independence, it would be a $30 trillion economy. Mr. Goyal was interacting with the faculty and students of the Stanford Graduate School of Business in San Francisco today. He said India spent the last few years creating foundation for rapid transformation in its economic growth, improvement of systems, engagement with technology, and learn from the best in the world. Mr. Goyal expressed his faith in the youth of India and said India's new education policy was giving a fillip to the liberal education and looking at deeper collaborations with the best schools in the world. The minister stressed upon ensuring good quality life and a bright future for India's each and every citizen. Mr. Goyal also praised Prime Minister Narendra Modi's articulated vision and plans for India's future and cited the example of LED lighting revolution on energy conservation to ensure sustainability. Mr. Goyal noted that India has been able to save around 80 million tons of CO2 emissions because of the LED lighting program. The minister also asserted that India is now planning hundreds of such transformative programs. Speaking of the incredible opportunities offered by India to the world, Mr. Goyal invited the students of Stanford to engage with India and work with 1 billion plus people with great aspirations. The minister is on a visit to the US from 5th to 10th of this month to attend the India-US Strategic Partnership Forum Conference and Indo-Pacific Economic Framework Ministerial Meeting. We now take you live to the Prime Minister's address at the plenary session of the Eastern Economic Forum 2022.
प्रमुख वैश्विक मंच बन गया है। इसके लिए मैं राष्ट्रपति पुतिन की दूरदर्शिता का अभिनंदन करता हूं और उन्हें बधाई भी देता हूं। 2019 में मुझे इस फोरम में रूबरू हिस्सा लेने का मौका मिला था। उस समय हमने भारत की एक्ट फॉर ईस्ट नीति की घोषणा की थी और परिणाम स्वरूप रशियन फॉर ईस्ट के साथ विभिन्न क्षेत्रों में भारत का सहयोग बढ़ा है। आज यह नीति भारत और रूस की स्पेशल एंड प्रिविलेज स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप की एक प्रमुख स्तंभ बन गई है। फ्रेंड्स, चाहे हम इंटरनेशनल नॉर्थ साउथ कॉरिडोर की बात करें, चेन्नई व्लादिवोस्तोक मैरीटाइम कॉरिडोर की या नॉर्दर्न सी रूट की, भविष्य में कनेक्टिविटी हमारे संबंधों के विकास में महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाएगी। भारत आर्कटिक विषयों पर रूस के साथ अपनी भागीदारी को मजबूत करने के लिए इच्छुक है। ऊर्जा के क्षेत्र में भी सहयोग की अपार संभावनाएं हैं। ऊर्जा के साथ साथ भारत में फार्मा और डायमंड्स के क्षेत्रों में भी रशियन फार ईस्ट के महत्वपूर्ण निवेश किए हैं। रूस कोकिंग कोल की सप्लाई के माध्यम से भारतीय स्टील इंडस्ट्री के लिए एक महत्वपूर्ण भागीदार बन सकता है। हमारे बीच टैलेंट की मोबिलिटी में भी अच्छा सहयोग बन सकता है। भारतीय प्रतिभा ने विश्व के कई साधन संपन्न क्षेत्रों के विकास में योगदान दिया है। मुझे विश्वास है कि भारतीयों की प्रतिभा और प्रोफेशनलिज्म से रशियन फार ईस्ट में तेजी से विकास आ सकता है। फ्रेंड्स, भारत के प्राचीन सिद्धांत वसुधैव कुटुंबकम ने हमें विश्व को एक परिवार के रूप में देखना सिखाया है। आज के ग्लोबलाइज्ड वर्ल्ड में विश्व के किसी एक हिस्से की घटनाएं पूरे विश्व पर प्रभाव पैदा करती हैं।
You were listening to the Prime Minister's address at the Eastern Economic Forum 2022.
Union Minister and ex-officio member of the New Delhi Municipal Council, NDMC Meenakshi Lekhi, has said that Rajpath has been renamed as Kartavya Path. Speaking to media after the meeting of NDMC today, Ms. Lekhi said the council passed a resolution to rename Rajpath as Kartavya Path. She said as India completes 75 years of independence, it is only fitting to shed the colonial baggage and move towards India at 100 in the Amrit Kal with our own legacy.
और प्रधानमंत्री जी ने ये बात पहले भी कही थी और आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव जब देश मना रहा है तो जितने भी चिन्ह हैं गुलाम भारत के और इंपीरियलिस्टिक पॉलिसीज के, उसको हमें बदलना होगा। और जो सेंट्रल विस्टा का निर्माण किया गया, जिस प्रकार से पार्लियामेंट का निर्माण जारी है, और उस सेंट्रल विस्टा का निर्माण ही नहीं बल्कि वो प्रेरणा के रूप में हर भारतीय के मन में एक संदर्भ पैदा कर सके और आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के दौरान हम सब लोग आने वाले भारत की तस्वीर अपने हाथों से निर्माण कर सके, यही हम सबकी प्रेरणा हो।
Ms. Lekhi said the renaming of Rajpath to Kartavya Path is a reminder that the spirit of public service is not right to rule but duty to serve.
that today's meeting was a special meeting of NDMC. The resolution was passed to change the name of Rajpath to Kartavya Path. Post-independence, we chose the system of democracy. In democracy, whoever gets elected and whoever gets to be in the position of executive officers, everybody's inspiration has to be duty towards nation. And that inspiration was somewhere missing because people were taking these positions with the idea of doing Raj. The idea of democracy is not to rule over others. The idea of democracy is participatory nature and people need to be bound by the duties.
She congratulated all the citizens on this landmark decision, saying it shall reaffirm our commitment to serve our motherland in this Amrit Kal. Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting Dr. L. Murugan has said that Doordarshan and All India Radio play a very important role in our country. Inaugurating the National Convention of Association of Akashvani and Doordarshan Engineering Employees at Akashvani Rang Bhavan in New Delhi, Dr. Murugan said Prasar Bharati employees are an integral part of the government and have a very important role to play in the democracy. He added that sound of Akashvani and Doordarshan touches every heart of the citizens of the country. He said Prasar Bharati not only contributes to the news but also helps nurture the Indian art and culture. He stressed on the need to adopt the upcoming changes in technology and help deliver quality content. Dr. Murugan also thanked Prime Minister Narendra Modi to have chosen Akashvani for his Mann Ki Baat. He also added that Prasar Bharati is contributing to Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav by bringing about various programs like Swaraj, which was recently launched. He said that efforts are also being made to enrich the skills of the employees and thus contribute more efficiently to the organization. Mr. Murugan also assured the employees that their issues are being looked after and they will be solved at the earliest. The minister expressed confidence that Akashvani and Doordarshan will lead to the recreation of the golden era. Minister of State for Communication Devu Singh Chauhan and CEO Prasar Bharati Mayank Agarwal were also present on the occasion.
India has told the United Nations that it attaches high importance to ensuring the safety and security of nuclear facilities in Ukraine. Making remarks in the UN Security Council meeting on the situation in Ukraine, Permanent Representative of India to the United Nations, Ruchira Kamboj, underlined that any accident involving nuclear facilities could potentially have severe consequences for public health and the environment. Appreciating the recent visit by the International Atomic Energy Agency team to Zaporizhia nuclear power plant in Ukraine, Kamboj stressed that India continues to remain concerned over the situation in Ukraine. She said, since the beginning of the conflict, India has consistently called for an immediate cessation of hostilities between Russia and Ukraine and an end to violence. The CBI officials today raided the three houses of West Bengal Law Minister Maloy Ghatak at Asansol in connection with the coal smuggling case. Raids are being conducted in 7 places across the state, including Asansol and Kolkata. Maloy Ghatak has earlier been questioned in connection with the case by the ED. Today's raid comes at a time when several Trinamool Congress leaders, including the party's National General Secretary Abhishek Banerjee, are on the radar of the central agencies, while sacked Minister Partho Chatterjee is in jail in connection with the SSC scam. Anubrat Mondal was arrested by the CBI in the cattle smuggling case. The CBI registered the coal smuggling case in November 2020. It is alleged that the illegally mined coal, worth thousands of crores of rupees, was sold by a racket operating in the western parts of West Bengal, where the Eastern Coalfields Limited runs several mines. It is alleged that proceeds from the coal trade went to the political leaders.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi virtually addresses plenary session of the Eastern Economic Forum in Vladivostok, Russia. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar to participate in the second India-Japan 2+2 Ministerial Dialogue in Tokyo tomorrow. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal says India spent last few years creating foundation for rapid transformation in its economic growth. New Delhi Municipal Council passes resolution to rename Rajpath as Kartavya Path. CBI officials raid houses of West Bengal Law Minister Molloy Ghatak at Asansol in connection with the coal smuggling case, raids being conducted in 7 places across the state. Central team to visit flood-hit areas in Bengaluru. Losses suffered due to rainfall pegged at 7,647 crore rupees. Indian origin barrister Suela Braverman inducted as Home Secretary in the new UK cabinet. Indian hockey player Harmanpreet Singh nominated for FIH Player of the Year award. PR Srijesh and Savita Punia shortlisted in goalkeepers category. And in Asia Cup, Pakistan to clash with Afghanistan in the Super 4 match at Sharjah this evening. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
मुट्ठी भर अंग्रेज और हमारे विशाल देश पर राज करने का स्वप्न देख रहे हैं, पर हम इनके स्वप्न को चकनाचूर कर देंगे।
निकल पड़े स्वाधीनता के पथ वाले, स्वतंत्रता संग्राम की सुनी अनसुनी कहानियों के साथ स्वराज हर रविवार रात 9 बजे डीडी नेशनल पर।
कॉम्पिटिशन्स की तैयारी कर रहे हैं? ऑल इंडिया रेडियो के पेशकश अभ्यास है सिर्फ आपके लिए। व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर आप हमें अपने ऑडियो सवाल भेजें, जिसका जवाब शनिवार रात 9:30 बजे एक्सपर्ट देंगे। इस बार का विषय है संस्कृत, तो संस्कृत विषय पर आपके प्रश्नों का हम करेंगे इंतजार सितंबर 7 तक। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
Welcome back to the Midday News on All India Radio. India's COVID vaccination coverage has exceeded 213 crore 91 lakhs so far. Over 4 crore first dose vaccines have been administered to the age group of 12 to 14 years till now. Health Ministry said India's active caseload currently stands at 50,594. A total of 5,379 new cases were reported in the last 24 hours. The recovery rate currently stands at 98.7%. Around 7,000 patients have recovered in the last 24 hours. The Inter-Ministerial Central Team headed by Ministry of Home Affairs Joint Secretary Ashish Kumar met Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai and his cabinet colleagues today in Bengaluru. The team was briefed about the damages suffered by the state due to rain and floods in the months of July and August and relief sought under NDRF. The Central Assessment Team will visit calamity-hit areas for 3 days till 9th of September. One of the 3 teams will visit Bidar, Kalburgi and Yadgir districts. The second team is headed for spot inspection in Dharwad, Gadag and Haveri districts. The third team will visit Hassan, Chikmagaluru and Chitradurg. Karnataka has pegged losses suffered due to rainfall at 7,647 crore rupees. Loss of life is of at least 96 persons. Crop loss is reported on 5.81 lakh hectares. According to NDRF guidelines, the state has sought 1,012 crore rupees relief from the central government.
Delhi Environment Minister Gopal Rai today said that the production, storage, sale and use of all types of firecrackers will be banned in the national capital till 1st of January 2023. In a tweet, Mr. Rai said the ban also extends to online sale or delivery of firecrackers. He said an action plan will be drawn up with the Delhi Police, Delhi Pollution Control Committee and Revenue Department to ensure strict enforcement of the ban. The minister said the decision has been taken to save people's lives from pollution. The Supreme Court will hear the interim plea to stop the Election Commission of India to decide the real Shiv Sena claim on the 27th of this month. The interim application was moved by the Uddhav Thackeray group to restrain the Election Commission of India from deciding the claim raised by the Eknath Shinde group for recognition as the official Shiv Sena party. A 5-judge constitution bench comprising Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, Justice M.R. Shah, Justice Krishna Murari, Justice Hima Kohli and Justice P.S. Narasimha today heard a batch of petitions filed by members of both the groups.
The BJP today criticized the Bharat Jodo Yatra of Congress, saying those who could not even connect themselves within their party have set out on the journey of connecting India. Briefing media in New Delhi, senior party leader Ravi Shankar Prasad said their own dedicated workers and dedicated leaders are leaving Congress and Rahul Gandhi is talking about Bharat Jodo Yatra. He said it is just show-off and hypocrisy of the worst order as Rahul Gandhi tried to weaken the unity of the country by asking proof for Uri and Balakot incident.
कि जवानों से उरी का सबूत मांगा था कि नहीं मांगा था? आपने देश की सेना से बालाकोट की गवाही मांगी थी या नहीं मांगी थी? हिंदुस्तान की एक संस्कृति रही है कि सेना की शहादत, सेना के शौर्य और सेना के बलिदान पर कभी सवाल नहीं करते और आपने उसका सबूत मांगा। ये आपने देश की सामरिक सुरक्षा और सेना के त्याग को भी तोड़ने की कोशिश की और आप देश को जोड़ने की बात करते हैं।
Indian origin barrister Suella Braverman has been appointed as the Home Secretary in the newly elected UK cabinet by Prime Minister Liz Truss. She has succeeded her colleague of Indian origin Preeti Patel. Suella Braverman has served as the Attorney General in the earlier government led by Boris Johnson. Also, she was one of the contenders to replace former Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Former Home Secretary Preeti Patel has said that she has resigned but will continue to work in the government from the backbenches.
Over the past 75 years since independence, India's largest public service broadcaster, All India Radio, has been the proverbial storyteller for the 1.3 billion citizens across the country. All India Radio is celebrating 75 years of freedom with a series, Azad Bharat Ki Baat, Akashvani Ke Saath. It showcases the journey of India since independence in various walks of life through the storytelling of All India Radio. Parallel to the political democracy with independence, the process of cultural democracy also occurred with the entry of All India Radio in the arena of music and literature. AIR brought all precious and mesmerizing melodies of the Indian music, be it classical or folk or film music, to every nook and corner of the country. Every legend in the field of music, from M.S. Subbulakshmi, Ustad Bismillah Khan, Pandit Ravi Shankar, Pandit Bhimsen Joshi, to Lata Mangeshkar, they have invariably performed at the studios of AIR.
आजाद भारत की बात आकाशवाणी के साथ, reliving the journey of India since independence over the last 75 years with All India Radio. From 15th August, the series is being broadcast on All India Radio, 100.1 FM Gold Channel, primetime news bulletins and across all its platforms. Tune in to stay updated with All India Radio.
In today's episode, we will bring you the story of two of the legends of Indian music, M.S. Subbulakshmi and Ustad Bismillah Khan.
In today's episode, we will bring you the story of two legends of Indian music, M.S. Subbulakshmi and Ustad Bismillah Khan. Madurai Shanmukh Vadivu Subbulakshmi, popularly known as M.S. Subbulakshmi, was a renowned Carnatic vocalist, the first musician ever to be awarded the Bharat Ratna, country's highest civilian honor. Subbulakshmi was also the first Indian musician to receive the Ramon Magsaysay Award. Affectionately called M.S. Amma, she mostly sang in Tamil, Telugu, Kannada and Meera bhajans in Hindi. She was not just the face of Carnatic music, but also a great actor, donning the roles of Meera and Shakuntala on the silver screen. She was the first Indian musician to perform at the UN General Assembly. Shehnai maestro Ustad Bismillah Khan gave a new meaning and prestige to Shehnai, which was traditionally played only during weddings or other ceremonies. He had the rare honor of performing at Delhi's Red Fort on the eve of India's Independence Day, the 15th of August, 1947. He also mesmerized people with his rendition on the occasion of India's First Republic Day, the 26th of January 1950. His recital had almost become an indispensable part of the Independence Day celebrations relayed by All India Radio and Doordarshan for many years. Ustad Bismillah Khan's musical sensibility and superb vision gave his music its unmistakable ecstasy, beauty and tenderness.
In tomorrow's episode, we will bring you the story of Pandit Ravi Shankar and Pandit Bhimsen Joshi. Azad Bharat Ki Baat, Akashwani ke saath can be accessed on at AIR News Alerts on Twitter, News on AIR official YouTube channel, News on AIR app, Facebook and Instagram handles. So tune in to All India Radio News for Azad Bharat Ki Baat, Akashwani ke saath.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the Kartavya Path tomorrow at 7 p.m. It symbolizes a shift from erstwhile Rajpath being an icon of power to Kartavya Path being an example of public ownership and empowerment. He will also unveil the statue of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose at India Gate on the occasion. These steps are in line with Prime Minister's second Panch Pran for New India in Amrit Kal, remove any trace of colonial mindset. Indian hockey team players P.R. Srijesh, Harmanpreet Singh and Savita Punia have been shortlisted for the 2021-22 year-end FIH awards. Harmanpreet Singh has been nominated for the FIH Men's Player of the Year award, while P.R. Srijesh and Savita Punia are in the running for the FIH Men's and Women's Goalkeeper of the Year respectively. All three had won the awards in their categories in the 2020-21 edition. Indian men's team head coach Graham Reid is in the shortlist for the FIH Men's Team Coach of the Year award, while women's team coach Yanikesh Kopman is also in the running for the Women's Coach of the Year honour. Graham Reid was voted the Men's Team Coach of the Year for 2020-21.
In Asia Cup T20 cricket tournament, Pakistan will clash with Afghanistan in the Super 4 match at Sharjah this evening. Yesterday, in a close contest, Sri Lanka defeated India in a crucial Super 4 clash by 6 wickets at the Dubai International Stadium. India will have to depend on the results of the other teams to qualify for the final of the Asia Cup. India will play with Afghanistan tomorrow in Dubai at 7:30 p.m. In the US Open today, Russian player Andrei Rublev will clash with Francis Tiafoe of USA in the men's singles quarterfinal match. In another quarterfinal match, 13th seed Yannick Sinner will lock horns with 4th seed Carlos Alcaraz. In the women's singles, Czech Republic player Karolina Pliskova will clash with Arina Sabalenka, while first seed Iga Swiatek of Poland will play with 8th seed Jessica Pegula of the USA. In the men's singles, Karen Khachanov of Russia and Norway's player Casper Ruud have entered into the semi-final. On the other hand, Carolina Garcia of France and On Zubair of Tunisia have made a place in the women's semi-final matches.
At the stock markets recovering from its initial losses, the Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange fell 111 points or 0.2% to trade at 59,086 in the afternoon trade a short while ago. The Nifty at the National Stock Exchange shed 27 points to 17,629. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi virtually addresses plenary session of Eastern Economic Forum in Vladivostok, Russia today. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar to participate in the second India-Japan 2+2 ministerial dialogue in Tokyo tomorrow. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal says India spent last few years creating foundation for rapid transformation in its economic growth. New Delhi Municipal Council passes resolution to rename Rajpath as Kartavya Path. CBI officials raid houses of West Bengal Law Minister Maloy Ghatak at Asansol in connection with a coal smuggling case, raids being conducted in 7 places across the state. Central team to visit flood-hit areas in Bengaluru, losses suffered due to rainfall pegged at 7,647 crore rupees. Indian origin barrister Suella Braverman inducted as Home Secretary in the new UK cabinet. Indian hockey player Harmanpreet Singh nominated for FIH Player of the Year award. PR Srijesh and Savita Punia shortlisted in goalkeepers category. And in Asia Cup, Pakistan to clash with Afghanistan in the Super 4 match at Sharjah this evening. And with that, we end the Midday News.